What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and if you know this channel over here, my preferences lie in everyday carry options. I think a lot of handguns that people carry can sometimes not be practical. They're not obsolete, but they're not very practical. They're very heavy, they're large, they're uncomfortable while driving, you can't do activities with them. It makes it harder. So the smaller the firearm, the easier it is to do activities and stuff. But also, you are giving up sometimes shootability. But there's also handguns out there that sort of mitigate that. There's very small handguns that shoot really well, like the Glock 26 shoots amazing, the Glock 27, the MMP 40C, the Shield and 357 SIG. They all are very manageable. And on top of that, what I want to say is, no matter what caliber, no matter what size handgun you have, you can bust your butt, train, put the resources, the dry fire practice, all that, and effort into getting amazing with your handgun. And you can learn to shoot any handgun really well. It confuses me sometimes when I don't see these, reviewers and influencers ever review 40 Smith and Wesson handguns. It sort of drives me crazy. They also rarely review 45 ACP handguns unless it's a 1911. It sort of makes you wonder why. I get there's a lot of 9mm handguns. It's the majority of them. I get a lot of people like it, but a lot of people like it simply because they watch those videos. A lot of people I know that actually experienced 40, that worked as law enforcement, cops, private security, people that carried 40, they absolutely love it. And they know the power of it and the stopping power and so on. So I don't ever just say, oh, I'm only carrying 9mm. I carry 380, I carry 9, I carry 40, I carry 357 SIG, and I also carry 45. And in the woods, I carry 10mm. I dibble and dabble in about every caliber if it's reliable, right? And all my handguns tend to be reliable. I rarely hold on to handguns that are unreliable. I will send them in, get them fixed, and then get rid of it. I do have some unreliable handguns right now that I'm working on getting fixed. But anyways, before we get started, hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite two handguns, chambered and 45. Now I think they both play a little bit different roles, but they're both great handguns. And what do I mean by that? Reliable, number one. But two is shootability, and that's a big thing for me. After they're deemed reliable and tested reliable, it comes down to shootability. And these are two handguns that manage 45 ACP just on point. They're just on point. Let's get into it. First off, it's going to be my XDS chambered once again in 45 ACP. Now, this is a little bit bigger than the XDS in 9mm. The grip's a little bit bigger to make up for the round being a little bit bigger. But to be honest, it fits my hand much better. The ergonomics with this handgun are just on point. It does come with a grip safety, which I think also plays its role. A lot of people that are new to concealed carry get nervous about having a handgun pointed at your manhood, right? Therefore, that is a great way to go. And also, these all have been safety checked and cleared prior to the video. None of these handguns are loaded, nor will they ever be loaded sitting on this table in front of me. Now, the XDS has a decent trigger on it, not the best trigger in the world, but still a decent trigger for concealed carry. Comes with a rail. This is a 6+1 setup right now, 3.3-inch barrel, but with the flush mag, it's 5+1, and people always get on me about that, but I say people carry revolvers all the time with 5 or 6 rounds, and they've been carrying them for a long time and been able to defend themselves for a long time. Therefore, if I get really good with the handgun, carry a backup mag, I don't tend to worry about it, but this tends to be a backup pistol for me, or just some, a light carry, right, going to the park with the kids. Rarely gonna ever have trouble where I live at a park with my children, right? So I can tend to get away with a little bit less round count. I carry how I live. I don't live how I carry. What do I mean by that? I carry based off the situation. I'll have 4, 5, 6 different everyday carry setups. If I'm going to a crowded mall, I get my Glock 26 with 15+1 or my Glock 27 with 13+1. If I'm just going to the mailbox, 5+1, 6+1, or 45 is just fine for me. When I'm working, I carry 7+1 because I know where I work. I'm probably not going to have a lot of issues. But things I love about this, the texturing is actually really good, really ergonomic. All the controls work great. The slide racks like butter on glass. Has a little bit of a gas pedal for that takedown lever. And that's actually really nice. Now your thumb wants to sit a little bit forward, but I actually shoot it fighting that recoil with that takedown lever. It actually acts as a little bit of a gas pedal. It's actually pretty nice. They do come optics ready now, and the sights are actually pretty decent. They're a U-notch rear, if you can see that U. I'm trying to get it. And then a white dot front sight. But nothing special about it, right? But what makes this handgun so special to me is every time I bring it to the range, I shoot this better than majority of my firearms. When I go to the range, I usually bring 4, 5, 6 different handguns. This always ends up having some of the tightest groupings. And you're going to say, oh, that thing kicks like a mule. That thing kicks like crazy. Actually, Springfield Armory did an amazing job with this handgun when it comes down to recoil. The recoil impulse on this handgun is so low, so minimal, and this is probably one of the most accurate handguns I own. I kid you not. I shoot this sometimes better than my main carries. I mean, this thing is just an awesome handgun. It's a get-off-me gun, a light carry, like I said, a pocket pistol. But man, is this thing reliable. It just runs, and I trust my life with it. And I also carry specialty ammo, like Underwood Extreme Defenders or Civil Liberty Defense rounds, and that tends to make it a little bit lighter of a package, but the power is absolutely there, the velocity is there, even out of a shorter barrel. So that's the way I go. But this handgun is one I will never sell, I will never trade, and I will forever hold on to because I love shooting this thing. It's a blast. Yes, it has a little bit more kick than 9mm, but not much. So if I could have the XDS in 9 or in 45, personally, I'm taking 45. I get less rounds, but I know how pinpoint accurate I am with this thing. Even at 40, 45 feet, 10, 15 yards, I'm great with this handgun. And most self-defense encounters will be within 10, 15 yards. That's just a fact. But this thing, I absolutely love the XDS 45. I try telling people it's such a great handgun. If they made this thing double stacked or a stack and a half, imagine 3.3 inch barrel, just a little bit wider grip, and you had 8, 9, 10 rounds. This thing would be an amazing handgun for literally everybody. I love 45. I don't discriminate. If it runs reliably, if it'll defend your life, then I'm all for it. The XDS is just one of those handguns that I absolutely love. And we'll just go through the trigger real quick just so you can see what it's like. I mean, there's nothing bad with the trigger. It's a little bit spongy, a little bit of over travel, decent reset, but it's just, it's so easy to shoot. I mean, the pistol does not move at all when you're pulling that trigger. I mean, not one bit. I mean, it's just something about this handgun they just did right. I don't know if it's my hands, I don't know if it's the design, but they did an awesome job with it. Love my XDS and 45 ACP. And then next up, also one of my favorite handguns to shoot. 45 ACP, coming out of a little bit longer barrel. I think this is 3.8 inch barrel. This is the Glock 30 SF. And I actually carry this thing. I carry it with the flush mag being 9+1. But this setup right here is actually the SLR Rifle Works base plate, so it adds +3. This setup right here is 12+1 of 45 ACP, and it's a little bit smaller in every dimension when it comes to length in these two directions than in Glock 19 or Glock 23. It's just going to be a little bit wider. You see how wide that slide is? That's why it's so manageable. This thing is a dream. Whenever I take people to the range, I actually tend to have them shoot larger calibers first, because then when I switch them over to a more regular 9mm SIG or 9mm Glock, they shoot it great. But what I actually realized is people shoot this great right away. They don't get scared of it. They don't think it's unmanageable. They actually enjoy shooting it. And I've taken a couple people who are first-time shooters to the range. They shoot this and they love it. They we'll go through a bunch of different calibers and size firearms. They always go back to the Glock 30. They just love it. Now, they don't tend to know much about the 45 ACP round and its speeds and, penetration and so on. So they don't have they're not in on that fight. But what they do know is they shot it really well, so they like it. And I thought that was very odd that someone picking up a Glock 30 for the first time, out of any handgun, shooting it for the first time, and they're doing great with it. It's actually pretty amazing, and I love to see it. I love to see people get good with handguns, get confident with them, and to really like to shoot them. All I did to this handgun, this is my backup mag, so it's got the SLR +3. These are the best mags. If you don't know, now you know. The best base plates for your mags are SLR Rifle Works. They make a +5 for the Glock 26, a +3 for the Glock 29, +3 for the Glock 30. I mean, they make it for your 19s. They're the best. They're the most ergonomic. They're great material, and they run reliably. So just remember, though, if this doesn't have a little circle on the bottom, like, for instance, most magazines from the factory have that little circle right there, do not put the plastic piece in here. Your spring is just going to sit on the bottom of the base plate. Some people have had issues getting a full capacity, but it's because they put that little plastic piece in there. Do not use the plastic piece unless there's a hole there. And also, this uses all OEM springs. So, comes with a rail. I changed out the sights. The Ameriglo 3-dot sights are the same ones that are on my Glock 27. Absolutely love this thing. It's a great handgun. Very shootable, very manageable. Let's get down to that trigger real quick. And oh yeah, hear that? Butter on glass. Woo! Absolutely love that. Now, trigger is actually real, pretty good. It's better than some of the Glock triggers out there. Like, it's much better than my Glock 19 Gen 3, much better than my Glock 26 Gen 3, my 27 Gen 3. It's just crisper and cleaner. It's almost like the slim line, like the 43X, the 48, the 43, and the 42. Those tend to have crisper, cleaner, a little bit lighter triggers. And so does the Glock 30 SF and the 29 SF. Two great handguns. Like I always say in videos, if I was just given these two and they said that's the only handguns you could have the rest of your life, I'd be just fine with these two. I could use this for home defense and everyday carry, and I could use this for pocket carry, backup carry, and everyday carry. They can both flex into a lot of roles. Awesome handguns, awesome power. Now let's do a size comparison real quick. Look at how thin that XDS is. Look at how small that SDS is compared to this Glock 30. I mean, it's crazy that this handles recoil the way it does. It's unbelievable. Two awesome handguns, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, there's nothing wrong with 45 ACP. They do call it the Lord's Caliber.